What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Got a really special car for you guys today. I've been waiting to show you guys this car. If you guys follow us on Instagram, you will have probably seen this car, and a number of you have been asking for this car to be on YouTube. So without further ado, let's do it. That's right, this is a Jaguar XJ220, one of the most iconic cars of the early 90s and a Gran Turismo staple for my entire childhood. We are doing some crazy upgrades to this car. I'm really excited to show you guys. This car is one of only 280 built for the entire world, and even crazier, this car has less than 500 miles from when it was new in 1993. Now, our client has asked us to do a number of upgrades and changes to this car to make this car ready for actual use.
The car sat for many years, and unfortunately the fuel cell foam basically dissolved into sand. Unfortunately, the car, they did attempt to run it that way, and because they tried to run it, that stuff is literally embedded in every single component in the entire fuel system. As you can see, this plate here that has both OMD and fuel safe engraved into it, we made that here in that actual machine right there, and this entire fuel cell and system all has to go in and out of the car through this hole. In an effort to make this reliable, we decided to use two Hellcat fuel pumps, which are E85 compatible. All of the lines have been remade in PTFE. Both of our fuel pumps are external. Now, the old system had two really small lift pumps that kind of laid down in the bottom with two little siphon tubes and two screens. Now, the screens are completely destroyed. The siphon tubes have the foam just embedded all over inside and out. The pumps literally are locked up. And then in the old car, those then came over here and fed two fuel pumps which sat on this bracket here. And you can see here the old line, old wiring that powered the fuel pump. And that we're gonna leave here. We're just gonna kind of tape it up. All of the modifications that we've made to this car are 100% returnable to original. Every part of the car that needed to be some way changed or modified, rather than modifying the original part, we just remade the part. Aside from the necessary issue of repairing the fuel cell, it seemed like a really good idea to go ahead and make the car flex fuel compatible. So Fuel Safe actually made us a bladder and provided us with all the foam inserts that go inside the tank in an E85 compatible cell. Our pumps are E85 compatible. All of our lines, like I said, are PTFE, which is E85 compatible. And to make sure that we didn't have fuel starvation, we purchased some Holley fuel socks to go across the entire bottom of the tank. One of the most difficult things to deal with this car is the fact that it has really odd tire sizes. So the original tires for this car have not been available through anybody other than one source for many years. So we went to a company in LA that makes custom wheels, and I asked them if we designed the wheel, if I actually drew the wheel for them in SolidWorks and gave them a solid model, if they could manufacture a wheel as I wanted it to be made. We really like Toyo R888R tires. This tire here happens to be a size that is commonly available for both a Lamborghini and the Viper. So I really don't think that this specific size, which is a 345/30/19, I don't believe that this specific size is going to be a size that's going to become non-available anytime soon. And for the front, we use 265/35/18 instead of the original 17. After the wheels were made, we realized that we were presented an opportunity to solve another issue that several people that own these cars have said is an issue, in that the car, as fast as it is, really didn't have powerful or adequately powerful brakes compared to modern supercars. I'm going to go ahead and take this wheel off, and I'll take this wheel off, and we'll show you both the front and rear brakes, and I'll kind of walk you through what we made. This car, like a lot of Ferraris, does not get a large amount of weight transfer under braking. It does get some, but it doesn't get much. And because the weight is literally like pretty much like a 60-40 split, the actual size of the rear brakes and the size of the front brake can be pretty much exactly the same size or really, really close to the same size. It came with AP Racing disc front and rear and AP Racing calipers. The original ones were 4-piston, and they had 330 millimeter in the front and had 300 millimeter in the rear. The calipers and the pads were actually the same. They were identical front to rear. I elected to basically make the two brakes, front and rear, exactly the same setup. And we'll deal with the front to rear bias hydraulically. These are directional 6-piston forged brakes. And the same thing over here, directional 6-piston forged brakes. They are 362 millimeter by 32 millimeter wide disc. The hats themselves were designed and made here in-house. I did not want to change or irreversibly modify the car. So the bolt or mounting arrangement of the existing calipers, the original AP, was a little bit different than what was available for the larger size 6-piston calipers. And I didn't want to be stuck with the 4-piston calipers and just do a brake disc upgrade. That would have been much, much easier. I could have easily just put bigger discs and put spacers and moved the calipers out. But, you know, we wanted to do this as best as possible within a reasonable amount of work. So we decided that basically the easiest thing to do without modifying the car was to go ahead and design and CNC all new uprights. Both the front and rear upright, we kept pretty much the exact same overall look and design, but obviously the original ones were cast and were hollow. Our front upright is about 2/3 of a pound lighter per upright, and our rears are about 3/4 of 1 pound lighter for each individual wheel. I went ahead and made more of a competition style brake duct than what you would normally see on a street car. So rather than it just being a duct that kind of blows at the disc or blows in the general direction of the disc, it seals off the open hole that's in the back of the disc and basically makes it so that all of the air, the actual vaned slots, the vanes pump when the disc turns, has to be pulled from the duct. And you can see here that we have a duct that goes here and up here in the front. These two little slots were not used for anything, so Martin made these nice brake ducts for me to fit up inside those holes. The next item that the customer wanted was he wanted to be able to get the car in and out of his driveway without scraping the front of the car up or the rear of the car. It was decided that we wanted a 4-wheel lift system that's going to lift the car about 45 to 50 millimeters in all four corners. So to do this, we sourced a four-wheel kit that was based around being used on a Lamborghini Murcielago front lift. It uses the same lift puck that are used for a Murcielago. And so then what I did was, you can see here, I designed new upper spring retainers and new nuts that are designed to work with those. And what we actually did was we moved the spring upwards on the actual shock body to give us enough room to actually put the puck in and have all the threads properly engaged. Martin went ahead and made all of the hydraulic lines for us here. And you can see here's a junction block here. This goes up here to the front. When the engine's taken in and out, there's a line now that is up at the front of the firewall to hook directly onto this. And it comes to the junction box back here, and then both the rear lift pucks will lift the rear up, and then you can see there's a pump right here in this part of the front of the car. Martin made all the mounts and everything to put this here, and you can see now here there's a junction box in the lines for the two fronts. So this line here goes over there and lifts the driver's side front wheel, and this line here comes here to this lift puck that's right there. Here is one of our original turbos, and I believe this is for the same side. See, it says 1.3. So that's our original turbo, and this is our new Garrett G25 660. We've used the G series turbos in quite a few projects, and I've been really happy with them. I would have liked to have been able to go ahead and use a mirrored turbo setup, but unfortunately with this car, the mirrored turbos were just not going to work. While the mirrored turbos are available, it already had existing exhaust manifolds that are pretty nice quality, and I didn't want to actually change or make new exhaust manifolds. So we went ahead and used the original manifold, and there's a company in Germany that was able to get me a T3 to V-band conversion that seems like it's gonna work just fine. I've gone ahead and tried to bring you up to speed at everything that's already been done on this project. At this point, we're gonna go ahead and continue working on the project. I'm going to put the engine back in the car, and then Martin is going to go ahead and fabricate a new exhaust system for us from the turbos back. I'm going to go ahead and get busy putting this engine in.
So we're 90% of the way done dropping this thing in. I gotta say, this is probably the craziest engine put in job I've ever been a part of. I mean, it like barely fits. I'm talking there is millimeters of space in every single spot. And this thing is just, it's the tightest fit I've ever seen of an engine. So, but we're getting it in there. We've probably got about 2 inches to go to get this thing lined up and in, and then we should be able to bolt it all together and we'll be good to go.
1 hour later.
So we've got this engine pretty much in at this point. It took a bit of wiggling to get it in. We've got the front engine mounts, you guys can see up in here. We've got those bolts in, so that's good. That's holding the front of the engine, and now we just got to get the bolts on the back of the frame, and we'll be good to go. We got the back wheels on as well. They look really good. I really like this dish look compared to the stock finish. We still do have to kind of test to make sure that these things are going to go up into the wheel well and camber in enough to clear the fender lip. So we'll be doing that soon. But yeah, it looks really good so far. Awesome to have this engine back in. That's gonna be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Now that we've got the engine back in and the car is over on Martin's side of the shop, Martin can start to get to work on the exhaust and the intake for this car. So that'll be the next video, and we'll see you guys then.